Count her down, Cassie.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Girl, what did that girl just say, girl?
Hi, welcome to PC, Pussy and Cunty. I'm Cassie DeLaCunt, and this is...
Tina Bush. We're back for episode 4. And obviously, we are still in self-isolation. We were planning on recording this together, but alas, here we are on April 13th, and we're still inside.
Oh god, it's the 13th already?
I know.
So our topic today is about social media. We figured what better time to talk about it than now, especially with how Corona's affected social distancing and person-to-person interaction is very limited. Also, especially because one of my questions in Butch Queen was about how to disconnect from social media, which was kind of ironic and funny now. So yeah, we're gonna go into that. Do you want to go into the first segment of social media?
Well, I think we have to introduce our unofficial sponsors.
Oh yes, we should do that first.
You ready?
Yes. 1,
1,
2,
2,
3.
Sponsors.
It's White Claw again.
White Claw. Back to White Claw.
You should do like a makeup tutorial. The
right.
shade
and then
raspberry.
You tap it really obnoxiously. You gotta hold it really close and be like.
Raspberry.
Mine's black cherry. It's probably gonna be backwards in the recording.
Should we just go right into our fan reveal?
Yeah.
All right. Another countdown. You want to do the countdown since I did the first one?
I'll do the countdown. A 3, a 2. Wait. A
Wait,
3.
so I got it right. I have to make sure I have it right.
3, 2, a 1.
Repeats, because I can't get a new one yet, and it's appropriate.
And we're thirsty to go outside. Damn it.
And Corona's still. Oh wait, that was weird. Okay.
Oh, that's fun.
For those who are wondering, another unofficial sponsor is my caftan. Kind of see. Made by Lady Whatever, aka North, which was also featured in the Butch Queen pageant. Support local drag.
Support local drag. That's one of my hashtags for the day. All right. Well, yeah. Let's dive right in to our social media episode. Pros and cons. Pros and cons of using social media. Cassie DeLaCunt, what are some of your pros of social media?
So some pros. So BC, before Corona, pros were advertising, connecting with other drag performers that didn't meet your time schedule or could not make it to your show, and still be able to book amazing performers that way. I would say that was probably the biggest pros before Corona, BC. After Corona or during Corona, DC, AC, whatever you want to call it.
DC, post.
After Christ, Easter was yesterday. I think it's kind of gained a bigger perspective of pushing our art on multiple platforms, reaching other people that you normally wouldn't be able to see your show because of different time zones or different locations. Like I have people watching my show now digitally through the East Coast rather than, having to buy a plane ticket to go see me or to see other drag performers. And as well as connecting with other drag performers across the country and across the world. So I think that's super cool and super neat and something that's hasn't been touched on prior to Corona. That especially reaching out to local drag artists and for example, I have a show coming up where I'm putting on my Peruvian cousin who's a drag queen, and they're gonna put a drag video together and we're gonna premiere it on the West Coast, which is super cool. So yeah. Tina Bush.
Cassie DeLaCunt.
What's your pros?
Ooh. I have a very complicated relationship with social media. I think that I think one of the biggest things is social media has made a lot of things very accessible for people, and I think especially as far as art goes, there's a lot of art forms that can be very inaccessible because of money is a huge one, money and location.
Mhm.
So being able to be on social media and being able to watch a video of someone's performance, being able to engage in a virtual way is really positive, because there's no reason that somebody should be shut out of a scene or of a community because they can't afford it, or because, like, you know, they're not physically able to come. Like, but like, I mean, obviously, you know, personally, I much prefer to like go see the thing in person, but you know, that's not always an option for everybody. And you know, like being able to just connect with somebody on Instagram or like, um, you know, or on Facebook is, you know, that's a really good thing. I also really like it for like inspiration. Especially just like scrolling through Pinterest and just like getting looks and shit, and you know, being able to keep it all in one place. But I love
That's
to.
a really good point, actually. Like, to like find inspiration
Mhm.
is especially through social media, and like especially since a lot of our artists, like when they create their music videos, it's all through social media. Something I kind of started doing with the whole Corona thing, like I started creating a like an Instagram show ish called Face Swap, where me and another performer will swap faces. And to me, I find it very, it's, it makes me feel like my drag is more validated because
Mhm.
more and more people do try to do a Cassie face. Um, it's kind of funny to see some people kind of like struggle with it, which I think my face is super easy to do. Not this one. This is a little more complicated
Yeah, that one
with
was
the
amazing.
scales and the gills, but like I had like a New York queen who does a lot of femme looks. So like, wait, sorry, I'm Karen right now. This side of it is, and was doing like one of my Barbarella alien looks and was struggling like for like the good first 30 to an hour to get the look even started. So it's just kind of, it's amazing to like see how that, you know, like inspiration and like seeing other people push themselves outside of their comfort zones to like kind of evolve their drag
Yes,
with their art.
yes, because
So
they see something and they're like, "Ooh, let me try to tackle that." Like, that's
next thing you know, they realize, oh, this is not that easy.
right. Gives you a little appreciation for for what we do.
Yeah.
The other thing too, I just thought of this. When people post like Instagram stories, especially like during a show, and I actually like, okay, like personally, I have a hard time getting videos, and I have a hard
Oh
time.
God.
Oh, hello,
Cops.
Simon. Um,
Cops are coming for me. I
right?
gotta go.
Like, I'm alone, I swear. But the like when people like come to shows and they take videos and they put it in stories, like I love that, because I have like when I get into show mode, a lot of the time I forget to ask people to record my performance. And so like unless it's like something that I've been planning for like a year and I'm like, oh my god, I have to get this, like da, da, da. So then I'm like nervously wandering around like trying to figure out who can do it, and then it's a whole thing. And then anyway, but like when somebody like takes the video of your stories, and like it's so easy to just be able to like boop, repost that, and like because then you know it gets attached to you, and then it's just like it just kind of
Yeah.
helps keep it going to where it needs to go. And it just like I really appreciate it, because it's like somebody, you know, either if they're a friend or not, they liked what they saw, so they wanted to film it and they wanted me to know about that, and
Yeah.
wanted to include me in that, and I appreciate that.
I
um
would say that's the one thing I miss a lot. Before Corona, like it's like be able to perform at bars and then get like, you know, the however many amounts of notifications of people like videotaping like that crazy moment that you did in your performance, and especially with like Drag Queen NX where things just can go, it can go either, you know, really well or just really bad.
yeah.
But like it's just like the spontaneousness of that doesn't happen very often anymore. And like now it's just like it's really hard to get strangers to see you. And that's the one thing I miss about the bar is to have like random walks of life, just, you know, pop in a bar and like, oh my god, there's a drag show going on, and then
Yeah. It's like,
now it's just like
like
they have to follow you.
yeah, like you actively have to tune in now. Like, and I think that's a good segue into cons of social media. Like, you know, because during this whole time, like, I've completely tuned out of social media. Like, we got about 3 days into this, and I was like spending way too much time on Facebook, and I was like, nope, if we're gonna be home for the next 3 weeks, we are not going on Facebook. We are not doing the shit. And like, so I haven't been on Facebook in over a month. Like,
Wow.
yeah, it's
Holy crap.
awesome. I also like hate Facebook anyway, and so like this has just been great to not be on it and not see people's dumb ass shit. Like, speaking of cons of social media, you compare yourself to everybody. Like, everybody has a much better life than you do, even though they don't. Like, it creates a false perception of reality.
Like this background.
Like this background.
Thank you, Zoom, for doing virtual backgrounds. It's actually just like right over there. It's just like,
I know, I love that it's still
a lot
in the
cleaner. Rather than like the wigs and like laundry that's piled on top of my bed. And the reception's a lot better on this side of the room. Struggle.
Struggle is real. It's like, what are your social media cons?
Cons. I would say one of the things I've been on my biggest like pet peeve with social media, and like I understand why it's happening, but it drives me up the wall, is the whole copyright issue. When drag performers are trying to like perform to a particular artist's song, and then like Facebook or Instagram or Twitch or any of those social media platforms just automatically mute you. And it's just like, come on, man. Like, it's you have DJs that remix their songs like left and right, and you don't mute them. Right. But yeah, drag performers just doing drag and try to do an appreciation to that artist's artwork, and getting like probably like $1 tip for it. But the other con, which actually segues right into another subject of social media, is bullying. I can't stand the cyberbullying. It drives me insane. Which actually kind of brings me into this why I'm dressed the way I am today. So RuPaul's Drag Race, I'm part of like this New York City like drag race fan group, and I've been part of the group since like before I even moved to San Francisco. So like my idea of drag was a lot different when I first joined, and now it's just like, what the fuck? Why are we watching this? But it was based off an episode that Rock was kicked off of. If you are just now tuning into Drag Race and I just spoiled it for you, I am so sorry. That was
also happened like 3 weeks ago. So like,
yeah, I felt the need to comment on this like group that I was like, this show is really like, kind of ruining the meaning of drag and what drag is. And someone's like, so Cassie, what's your meaning of drag and what's your definition of drag? I'm like, well, drag is very wide. In terms of like, you have your pageant queens, you have your spooky queens, you have your campy queens, like it's a wide spectrum, and they're all equal. Like every person's drag is valid. And I just kind of went off on a tangent about like how Drag Race just kind of limits that view of like making it seem like it's only this particular polished drag, or what they consider polished, is only valid to the world. And that drove me up, like, just made me really upset. And so this person decided, like, to go in on me about my drag. And I was just like, oh, okay. And was like, well, pageant queens haven't won a single episode since, I forget who was the last pageant, like, the pageant queen that they mentioned was, like, the early seasons. And they just kept going on and on and on about pageant queens this and pageant queens that, and like how fishy looks are so much better than any other looks. And I was just like, so many triggering words. And I was just like, you know what?
First of all, let's unpack fishy, but like that's also a different episode.
So, and then the person like just went on about like my drag and like how they didn't like my makeup and how they, read my makeup looking like Batman, which, I don't know. which if anyone who watches this and knows my makeup, it doesn't look like a Batman mask. It looks like nitrous oxide. That's not bullying, she's my sister. I digress. So I went off on them about I never came after you, and you're not a drag performer, so why are you coming after my drag?
Oh my god, that's the cherry on top. I didn't realize they weren't a drag performer.
They were not even a drag performer. And B, you know, sorry, it's blanked out. B, I never said anything bad about pageant queens. Like, I just said that they're also included and everyone's on the same level, you know. Just, that's it. Like, I didn't go in. I didn't go in on a tangent about how bad pageant queens are, and I actually have an appreciation for them. So
yeah, like pageants, like people who
I just did a pageant. Like, fuck off.
Like, seriously, drag queens who like are committed to like the drag pageant circuit, like that shit is no joke.
Yeah,
like,
it takes a lot of time, and like it's a lot of fucking work.
There's so much money that goes into it. Like, there's so many like restrictions and things you can and can't do, and like, I mean, like the process of getting ready for a pageant and competing in like a huge like national competition or statewide, no fucking joke. Like, seriously, props to anybody who does. I mean, definitely not my personal track, but anybody who does it.
But seriously, cheers to the pageant queens and kings.
Work hard, like. Woo, yeah, like pageants
but,
a fucking joke. Like,
so then they went on about like my look is always, they want to see me do more fishy looks. So this is the result of me doing a fishy look, and I did educated them on the term fish, and that was completely rude, and that they shouldn't be using that. And if they mean femme looks, then obviously they need to follow me on social media and see all my drag, because started off femme and went clown. So I dropped all my note cards.
But yeah, like social, it can be so toxic, like, you know, because people, like, with the anonymity, so to speak, of the internet, people just feel like they can pop off about whatever they want, and there's no repercussions for it. There's no one there to tell them, hey, knock it the fuck off. Because people read the comments and they just buy into the drama. Like, I mean, it's like watching a reality show, but it's like, you have to remember that these are real people who are receiving this kind of abuse, and like, and these kind of abuse, like,
and to me, like, if you really have like a serious problem with someone's like definition of like drag, or just anything that they do, like, why blast them in front of like a bunch of people? Like, that was the one thing that was just like got me. It was just like, why even bother? Like, just have a simple, like, you could have easily just like private message me like, hey, just, you know, I didn't agree with you on this and that. I'm like, okay, and then we could have like an adult conversation about it. And like, so kind of going back to like what you did with like detoxing from social media, like last year I actually had a detox from social media because I was getting bullied by people from our own community, who I won't name names, but, you know, calling me out for no reason. And it was like more than one person that did this, and they would just keep calling me out and out and out and out. I was like, look, I'm just living my best life. I'm not calling you out on social media. I'm not doing any of this stuff. I'm not embarrassing you in front of other people. Like, you know, I just told you this is my lane. You stick to your lane, I'll stick to mine. If you want to have a conversation with this, let's meet up and talk about it. And I try to be the adult about it. And still to this day, these people won't meet up with you. But like, just stop bullying the people.
If you wouldn't say it in the bar, don't say it on social media. Like,
yeah. If you can't say it to my face, don't even bother hiding behind Facebook. I'm sorry. It's created this mask for people that like, who don't have enough guts or have grown up or been like grown mature enough to like be able to handle the pressure of like telling somebody to their face like, hey, this is how I feel.
Yeah. Being able to communicate boundaries and being able to communicate and have a healthy argument. Like, arguing's not bad. It's just, you got to do it in a respectful way.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we have debates and stuff like that. Like, those are mature, well, some of them, but not all of them, but like, you know, they're meant to like be able to help the other person get to another level of understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially like with this web series, like we constantly go back and forth and try to get each other to another understanding, and hopefully getting our viewers to another understanding.
Absolutely. Well, and going back to like the pros part of it, like I think that there really is something to be said about social media bringing people together, because I think that there's, on the one hand, it creates a huge distance between people because there's that sense of like competition and comparing yourself that you're doing like in the privacy of your own room and of your own home, and you're kind of getting like in this like wall or like this like world of like self-doubt and self-hatred, and just like I'm not as good as everybody else. But then there's the flip side of it of like somebody shares a joke or a video that you really like, and then there's this whole community of people like commenting on it and being like, oh my god, this is really funny, I love this, like sharing it, like when you see, I love it when people share stuff that I posted, because it like, I'm like, oh my god, like I spoke to you, like we have a common idea, and that makes me feel more comfortable around you, like even if it's somebody I don't know that well, or like even if it's somebody I do, like it's like, oh, like you and I feel really similarly about like education in America or some shit, like and it just like it helps create like that sense of community, and like I know that I could talk to you about this because like I see the things that you post and I see what you stand for, and like because it's not, you don't always get to have those conversations with people, but like you can see like on a smaller scale like who they are and be able to support them that way. So
the only thing I said about like detoxing, like a good thing to do, is to actually delete the fucking apps off your phone.
That's how I've done it. I haven't had Facebook on my phone for probably 4 years, because like I would just sit there and be like all the time, and I was finally like, this is ridiculous. You have it on your computer and you only have it on your computer. Like that is it. And that's how I like started weaning myself off of it. Then I deleted Instagram too, and that's been amazing. So yeah.
I would say come around August, December was my last bully incident, like that pushed me off the edge, because I was also going through a breakup and was just like, I can't deal with this no more. I was off of it for September, like 2 months. The only reason why I had to re-download it back again was because of Butch Wayne.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that was the only reason why I re-downloaded back. So I didn't feel like Facebook events were really pulling in a crowd in terms of like to my show. I think my show was doing pretty fine just without it. I would say that I started being more strategic about my virtual shows or digital shows or cyber shows, whatever you call them. Like I started inviting people that I normally would not invite. So like, since it's now accessible like worldwide, that like, why not invite the people that normally can't come to your shows to see your show?
Right.
So I would say that's the only thing that I haven't seen too much of an impact on it. So I would say during like the Instagram live, and the way that it like immediately notifies you that you're live, or like even with like Facebook Live, it like pulls your story above everybody else's to like see what's going on. That's way more helpful than actually like creating a Facebook event.
Yeah, I agree, because the algorithms don't want us to have nice things, so like you have to work with them. So
yeah.
Okay, so like quarantine's going to be done eventually, and we've had this like surgence of digital drag. How is it going to change our drag scene, with like having this massive social media presence? How's it going to change? What do you think is going to happen when we go back to going outside?
I was actually thinking about this a lot more recently, because like, yes, we built this huge platform of like, now drag's available online, and it reaches like a certain amount of people. Certain platforms get more strangers than others, but I do find it interesting to see like when shows go back to its regular spot, how's that going to change?
Right.
For me, like, since I invested a lot of time in like learning how to stream and like getting the streaming programs and getting the materials to like have a good show online, or a decent show online. For me, like, I want to make sure I can use that materials moving forward. Like, I think some things I might keep are like the face swap. Like, I'll still keep doing that because I think that's still kind of cute. Also, I think like maybe taking a live feed of your actual show when it's not social distancing, and hopefully you can still stream your show that way, so that like people who were a fan of it while we were social distancing can still watch it from across the country.
Right, and I think that's the remote piece, is like gonna be the kicker, because you know, people have been able to tune in from far, far away, and it's like, do we really want to lose that audience like when we come back to everything? And like, no, of course not. You know, it's like, how do we still, you know, allow them into our space, but you know, also have like our own live show in our own community.
Also, another cool thing I was talking to Nitrix about was like, a lot of these bars have projectors, so why not still invite other drag performers from like across the country and just project their videos onto
Something about this?
Huh?
Can I say something about this actually?
Yeah.
Okay, so because I've seen someone try to do this and it is awful. Like, it is I'm not kidding. Like, it is, I love the intent behind this idea, but in execution, it is so awful, because you're there for a live show, right? So first of all, if the video element isn't a part of somebody's number, it just completely takes you out of it. Because in a live performance, like, the video should be the enhancement, not the main focus, right? And so at this one particular show, this person was supposed to be Facebook living their performance in, like, at the moment of the show. Of course, everything went to shit. So, like, so we had to rearrange the lineup, you know, the whole thing. Like, so that's a different issue. But the fact of having the video, once we finally got it figured out, so she ended up recording it and then sending it in, and then they played it like on the projector. The sound is a monster because it doesn't sound like everything else that's happening in the bar. You can't see it because it's shot on a phone and it's on this huge projector now. Like, so I mean, unless you're showing like a professional ass, like, music video quality, you know, something like that in a bar, go for it. But if it's just like you hanging out in your living room and, like, you know, you didn't check your sound, you didn't check your, you know, it's like, it just doesn't work the way that you think it will, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah, it's a valid point, because like, in the sense of like, you know, like, you go to a bar for social interaction, like, it's not,
yep,
it's just odd. It's like watching RuPaul's Drag Race at a bar.
right. It's like, you know, it's fun to watch it with other people, but at the end of the day, you want to see a live show, like, you know, and you want to stay for the live show. And, you know, I mean, and that's what makes what we do so magical, is the audience interaction.
I did my first live or digital show. I felt super awkward. Like, I just felt completely out of place, and just like, it's just awkward. Like, you know, I have my roommate behind my phone playing video games, and then there's me trying to do all I want for Christmas. The social interaction. But like, it's just too awkward. And like, to me, like, especially the kind of performer I am, like, I vibe off the audience.
Yep.
If I can't see the audience, like, it's really, really hard for me to adjust to, like, you know, oh, do you think I'm doing well, or do you think I'm just being awkward? And like, I watched the performance, I looked awkward as fuck. And then like, doing also like your virtual shows in like places that are not necessarily the most comfortable place. Like, for me, like, I do mine in my basement. It's the creepiest motherfucking thing. It's so creepy. And I really hate it. Like, you know, what's going on? It's late at night. I'm in this creepy basement. Like, there's nobody else around me besides, you know, the basement and random artifacts that are just, you know, sitting there. And then artifacts. I don't know what they're called.
I mean,
like, it was really creepy. Like, there's like a digital, like a camera hanging from the ceiling that was randomly hanging there, and like these two spotlights. Like, oh, this is like, okay. Like, at first, like, this is like, oh, it's a sign saying like you should do it, and then the next, you know, it's just like, no, there's creepy noises, and like, this looks like a murder scene.
Bye.
All these red walls. Like, blood red walls. Yeah, it was creepy. Like, you could watch like my first show, and you just see me like constantly like looking towards the corner, just like, who's that?
Am I gonna get murdered now?
Like, about to do P90X, and like, I'm alive. Freaked out. Thank you for tuning in. This is our web episode, PC Drag series. We're not gone. We're still here.
Hell yeah.
Social distancing.
Still here. Next episode, I don't know what we're gonna talk about next time.
I don't know.
Probably will also be remote though, so.
Yeah, eventually we might bring this a live thing. We'll do one episode live. One episode live.
We like.
So I think it'd be kind of cool to have people ask us questions.
Yeah, let's do that next time.
You want to do that next time?
Yeah.
The PC
live
live.
next time.
Yeah.
No.
Do my hair like your hair, like off the shoulder.
All right. Once again, I'm Pina Bush.
I'm Cassie Delicans.
And this has been PC.
Pussy and Cunty.
Pussy, puss, give 'em cunt, bitch. Mama, yes, God, then you pop that tongue, bitch. This whole club is my runway, run, bitch. Y'all 5, 4, 3, 2s, I'm a one, bitch. Girl, what did that girl just say, girl? Girl.